What's up, Two Piece fans, One Piece power scalers, and agenda-holding individuals alike? It is time to discuss the big news, the big thing that has ruffled the feathers of many sections or elevated certain members of the above aforementioned people in the latest chapter of One Piece, chapter 1107, which I have already done a review for. You can definitely go check that out. But at the end of the review, I plan to talk about the big thing that everyone seemed to focus on in this chapter. They missed out on some greatness, by the way, because I really liked the chapter, and there was much more interesting things to talk about than what happened with Zoro and Sanji in this chapter, in my opinion. But I did go through the review. I glazed and glanced over those scenes and stuff like that, and I did my review, and standard, usually over 20 minutes long, and it was. Then I realized that at the end of the review, I said I should acknowledge this and, figure this out. Because when I first read the chapter, I wanted to see if people theorized about the end part of the chapter. The big, sort of the reveals and what theories were out there. And nobody was talking about it. So I ended up leaving it for the end of the review, and then I ranted. I raved, and I went in depth on the Zoro scene, the Sanji scene, and my takeaways from those two scenes. And not in an extreme camp on either side of that debate. Then I realized that the review went on way too long with that section. Even warning everyone, forewarned in the review, that wasn't going to be the case. So, here, what I'm planning on doing is just showing you guys that. I decided at the end of that to crop that out and play it for you here in a separate video. So, that being said, we're just going to cut right here. You guys are going to see what you would have seen at the end of the review, all the stuff talking about the Zoro, the Sanji, and all the power scaling debates that went on in between, and this is my take on it. Heavy sigh, bold shoulders, the whole bit when this chapter dropped, okay? When this chapter dropped, nobody cared that Katarina Devon was here. Touching, which we know is part of Bon Clay's thing, so maybe she chooses to kill, doesn't have to kill to use her, abilities. Nobody cared that Dory and Bragi were here looking badass, taking shit down, that all this cool stuff was going on, like Katarina Devon, and talking about that Teach has a lineage, Caribou is now going to have the locations and reveals, if this is truly Caribou or whatever, is going to have all the information to give to Teach about the other poneglyphs and stuff. Even if he didn't capture Law, he still has access to this. So, this is really, really bad. This is bad in the strictest sense because Caribou has a lot of this information that Teach can now get to get him that leg up that he needed to match up with people like, the Straw Hats, like Law and stuff like that on their way towards the One Piece. So, big things happening there. The mastering of Devil Fruits, which makes a lot of sense. Van Augur has not yet mastered his Devil Fruit. He didn't have it pre-time skip, so he's had at most 2 years to master it. He just hasn't yet. Makes a lot of sense. And as I said, the lineage, what Saturn and them obviously know it, but what is it? Does it have to just, the D clan and stuff like that? It has to do with that, but perhaps, like Sengoku and stuff, perhaps Teach actually knows the full meaning of the D and is able to, and that's part of the thing. And he knows the whole history of the story, and I was born under the blackest of stars, and, I will lead this world to chaos and victory and world domination. So, and they're all following him because he's told them all the truth. There's that. He could be Rox's son. He could be anything. He could be a reincarnation of Rox. He could be whatever. He could be related to Joy Boy. He could be related to the very first ruler of the world, somebody from the Void Century. We have no idea, but it's relevant and stuff. And with all this coolness going on, all the confirmation that we're heading to Elbaf next, basically confirmed here. Out of all this, out of the super, like Bonnie basically admitting, I've been looking for you, you're Nika, just without shadow of a doubt, that is Nika. It's just like Daddy always told me, yes, let's go, show me how to punch, Nika. Is like, here's how you make a punch. All this cool stuff going on, right? And what does the entire internet care about? Twitter to TikTok, YouTube to Discord, and of course Reddit in between. What does everybody care about? Sanji is now Admiral level, and Zoro's a fraud. And then you have the fight back of, Zoro isn't a fraud. Anybody could be trash talking. You have, Sanji just blocked one casual, not even named laser attack, and blah blah blah, and all this stuff. So you have the fight back on it, and that's all anybody is doing. Everybody's putting a Loro and a Wanji and all this shit, and I'm just like, did anybody actually read the chapter, or is this all you care about? Because if this is all you care about, read the leaks. If you don't read Japanese, perfect. Just take the panels, take them, check them out, and then we'll see you next week. Because that seems to be all the One Piece community cares about nowadays. Which seems to be, normally I could say that this is the toxic side of the community. Or I could say it's the power scaling side of the community. The problem is, the majority of the community now seems to be in that camp of either power scalers or agenda people. One or the other. It makes up the majority, and it really does suck. Because I was looking for honest, what are people's theories about the lineage thing? Are people sort of theorizing like I just did about the caribou thing? It sort of seemed like, okay, is this legit? Is it not? Is this an impersonation? I had 3 damn theories on that last panel, but nobody's even talked about that. No one's talking about Blackbeard's lineage. No one's talking about Katarina Devon, touching, what nefarious purpose are they going to use for that? They're going to be able to impersonate. And as I said, we don't know that their intel has told them that she has the Nine-Tailed Fox Devil Fruit. We know it as readers, and Gecko Moria knows it. That's it. So, big problems there, right? So much, and all anybody cares about are these 2 scenes, and using it to scale their agenda. That Sanji's stronger than Zoro, or that Zoro's a fraud, or that or that this doesn't prove anything. Wait till next week, Sanji fans. You're forgetting this, you're forgetting that, and just all the debating and all the arguments and stuff. And okay. So to go into it in all honesty, once again, my stance will always be Luffy's number 1 in power, strength, and all that on the crew, and Zoro will always be number 2. Okay? Sanji will never surpass Zoro as the first mate or number 2 in power on the crew or anything like that. Okay? That is my stance. I like Sanji. He has his faults, but I like Sanji. I like Zoro. Okay? So I've got a foot in sort of both camps, but I'm also the opinion that the hierarchy goes Luffy-Zoro. Okay? So if we can accept those facts, let's just talk about these 2 scenes really quick. I said this was going to be a couple minutes, but I had to rant first. So, okay. So, the Zoro scene itself. I mean, yeah. Was I a little disappointed? Did I expect Zoro to have defeated Lucci by now? Sure. The fact that they're clashing, though, doesn't bother me. And did everyone forget that Lucci evenly clashed with Haki, a Gear 5th Luffy hockeyed up? So, one clash where he didn't overpower him completely doesn't prove shit to me. Just right out of there. The second thing is the trash. And once again, we haven't seen named attacks. We haven't seen Bandana Zoro. We haven't seen any of that yet. I hope to get that. But the big thing I think a lot of people were using was Lucci's trash talking. Okay? Lucci's trash talking here, right? And because it doesn't, in retrospect, it doesn't look good that Sanji was able to get a 1-up on an admiral, but Zoro is struggling, quote-unquote, against only a CP0 agent, who is decisively, and I would agree, Lucci is weaker than an admiral, right? So, that happening both times in the same chapter does look like Sanji's better than Zoro right now. Zoro's struggling, Sanji's winning, right? Okay. We can put a few things into context here, but as far as the Zoro scene goes, as I said, Lucci's trash talking too. Okay, Lucci's trash talking. But here's the thing: I don't want anybody cherry picking Lucci and his words. Okay, if you want to stand by his words and you want to follow the gospel in the Bible of Lucci by his word, and you want everything he said to Zoro to be fact. Fair. But then you also stand by the fact that Luffy is not an emperor. Because in this very arc, Lucci said that too. Lucci said, if I haven't called him an emperor yet, I don't acknowledge it, so it didn't happen. You can't cherry pick, so you either accept everything Lucci says, or you accept none of it, okay? Just right out of the gate. So the trash talking, well done well. Lucci's a good trash talker, 100%. But, and remember, after all that trash talking, Zoro was like, yeah, okay. First off, you think you're actually got the upper hand in this fight. I think it's time I showed you that you don't. And then we cut away, just so we're clear. So, I really do feel like Zoro's like, okay, buddy, now it's time to shut you. You know, I was fine, you know, dancing a little bit with you now. Now it's time to cut your ass down, right? Alright, so Zoro might get serious. The other thing, the last thing about that scene was that we know for a fact that carnivorous zones, we know that zones get, I mean, whatever definition you want to use, but they have better physical strength, yes, but their stamina, endurance, and durability is far higher. Zone users get a much higher threshold when it comes to that stuff, right? We know that zones get that. That's been confirmed multiple times. That's a fact, okay? So, we know that Zoro and Lucci both are exhausted from both fighting each other and from fighting the Seraphim and stuff like that, right? Now, I would argue that Zoro is more, he's put in more work than Sanji so far in this arc with less rest, right? I could make that argument pretty easily, and I think, you know, I'm sorry, S-Hawk is more dangerous than anything Sanji has fought so far. Okay? I'm going with that. Up until, and once again, he didn't exactly fight Saturn. Saturn paralyzed him, right? So up until this point, right, when they're both fighting right now at their current stage, I think that Zoro's had a little more exhaustion put into him. So, but in that regard, Lucci would probably still have the upper hand no matter how much Zoro trains and how crazy good he is and stuff like that, no matter how much he lifts. You know, do you even lift, bro? Zoro is not going to have, you know, that same amount as an awakened zone user. It's just unlikely, right? So, there is that. 100%. So, yeah. But once again, I still expect Zoro to come out on top here and stuff like that. I mean, is it a great showing? No, but once again, we also saw the same dude go toe-to-toe with Gear 5th Luffy. Yes, he ended up, you know, he was basically outmatched eventually, but the fact is that he still clashed with him. And that's all that we saw here with Zoro. That Zoro didn't slice his hand off and everyone's calling fraud. Well, you know, once again, we got to stop cherry-picking scenes just because everyone forgets what happened 6 chapters ago. Now, the Sanji scene, I thought was just cool. But what I think that a lot of people are taking away from this is Kizaru and Frankie's reaction is why the fan base is just blowing up over it, okay? The fact that Kizaru is so damn shocked, and then he's shocked or just like sweat mode, like what the hell just happened? And then Frankie's dialogue on top of it being like, a laser beam. No way. No way. How did you do that? Right? That's what got everyone's, you know, everyone up in arms and being like, oh, what a feat. What a feat. Right? Yeah. Is it wrong of me that I expect any top tiers on any Yonko cruise to be able to block a Kizaru laser beam? Mihawk, Crocodile, Lucky Roo, Yasop, Ben Beckman, you know, Kuzan 100%. I don't really count, I really don't care for much of the Blackbeard Pirates. But yeah, Kuzan. And, you know, Zoro, Jinbei, Sanji, Luffy. Is it wrong that I expect that? Because the reaction by everybody is kind of crazy considering that you're forgetting that the PX, all the PXs since pre-time skip till now, have used laser beams. And they have been defeated, blocked, dodged, and everything else many, many times before this. So, I'm not seeing why the reaction of the characters, especially from Frankie. Frankie, you've been shooting laser beams for a decade of this damn story plus. Have you one-shotted every combat? Like, I think the feat is cool. It's cool that Sanji, like, bam, and kicked off, and it's like, alright, cool. I think the overall reaction from the characters is sort of misplaced here in that regard. Because I expect Sanji to be able to do that. We don't know if he hockeyed up. We don't know if he used Ifrit Jambe. We don't know any of that stuff. But we know his exoskeleton's on 24/7. And, I don't know if those boots do anything or whatever. But, like, would you be shocked if Jinbei was able to do that? Or is it the speed? Is it the speed feat that everybody's shocked by? Because, once again, Sanji is one of the fastest, characters on the Straw Hat crew. He's one of the fastest characters on Yonko crew. Like, that's one of his claims to fame, is being, like, having really good observation hockey and boom, 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 and, speeding his way through with his feet and stuff like that, right? Skywalking, boom, 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 So, is it everyone's super happy because it was like a crazy speed feat to get there in time to block the laser? Or was it the actual blocking of the laser? That's the part I don't get. What are people actually saying is such a crazy good feat here? Because I would actually argue the speed is more impressive than the blocking. Because, as I said, I expect top tiers on any Yonko crew to be able to do that. And I don't think that's crazy. Remember, in this very arc, Sentomaru, when Kizaru personally was going light speed, light kick, Sentomaru went boom and hockeyed up. So blocking it isn't a crazy super feat. And I would argue a light kick from Kizaru is stronger than one of his laser beams. I'm going to assume that. So, or they're at least comparable in strength. So, I think, realistically, it's more of an impressive speed feat from the range he was at that he managed to, boom, there in time. And I'll give that speed feat to Sanji. It was impressive as a speed feat, 100%. But as a durability, I stopped it, blocked it, deflected it. I sort of always thought you could, man. So, I mean, but anyways, those are my thoughts on it. I don't think this proves one way or another, because it's not like this would be different if Lucci was getting the upper hand on Zoro, while Zoro used a named attack and couldn't, basically, it was like a Kaido thing, like, that's the best you can do. Oh, you managed to scratch my body. And in the meantime, Sanji managed to get Kizaru down on his knees, beaten him bloody. That would be a holy shit. Zoro is not looking like, this is looking like Zoro's about to be replaced in the hierarchy of the crew. Then I would get it. But that's not what happened, but everyone's treating it like it did. Everyone's treating it like Sanji just, beat the crap out of Kizaru, and Lucci is beating Zoro right now. That's the way the community seems to view this. And, yeah. I'm not seeing it. I'm just not seeing it. So, yeah. So that was the whole debate part. I knew that was going to be a lot longer. I always claim, it'll only be a few minutes. It never is. I had to record this once before already, actually. I tried to do this at the beginning of the video, but it took up the first 7-8 minutes, so I said, you know what, I'd rather be more long-winded, have a rant, discuss each aspect of it, have a 10-15 minute one at the very end once I got on a roll here, rather than bore everyone for 15 minutes and then claim that all I want to do is talk about the chapter, and meanwhile, at the beginning of the video, all I talk about is the thing everybody's talking about. So, I'm leaving this here at the end, okay? As a matter of fact, I might just make this a separate-ass video. I don't know. I might just make this the debate side of things or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'll do that. So it wasn't that fun, yeah. But can you guys see? I mean, I think this video will be about 15-20 minutes long as a result of that. Not that I've timed anything yet, so I could be way off. But yeah, I didn't want to leave that big chunk, ranting and just raving all about these two little scenes. There were 2 pages out of a whole chapter, and that's all anybody wanted to focus on. So I got all my thoughts, all my ranting done at the end of the review, realized it was too long, and cropped it up into this video for you guys to watch separately, right? Just completely separate from the review. It won't tarnish the review, and when I get comments on the review itself, people will actually talk about the chapter, not just about my opinion, or call me, a Sanji hater, a Lucci hater, a Zoro hater, or a, Zoro wanker, or any of these things, right? No one will come or say your Admiral agenda, you're this, that, you're, the other thing. Everyone can actually talk about the chapter if you choose to comment on the review, and then this is for all the toxic people to come to and start telling me how I don't understand Two Piece, right? So, anyways, but that was the video. That was the part I cropped here a little while ago. So, yeah, so it's sort of a 2-parter here. You guys got the review, and now you get the rant side of the review, right? In 2 separate videos, right? Isn't that swell? So anyways, that was it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. And in the future, I think I will do this rather than have these big, if I have a 50-minute long review because I'm theorizing and stuff like that, I never mind that. But if I go on anything over like a 7-8 minute rant about one little key line or key scene or key thing, from now on, I think that this is a better format to do it in. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as always. And of course, if you disagree with my opinion, feel free to hit that dislike button. I'd never stop anybody from hitting it. So, anyways, thanks guys for watching. We'll see you guys back here next time for the next piece of One Piece. Looking forward to it. Hope you guys are too. Sayonara.